I call up my friend Amy, a fellow parent and writer, to talk about our experience with postpartum, breastfeeding, weaning, and being disabled parents. We both live on the West Coast, but I'm in Canada and Amy's in the States, so this phone space was how we could connect. I wanted our conversation to feel like we were at a playground or parent group. Amy has a child who is 3 years old. My daughter Esther is 18 months old. And as an editing note here, during our conversation, we were using Amy's child's name, but have since redacted it. And here's Amy recording numerous takes of saying my child to replace it.
And when my kid was born and she did this, my kid, and we like to say maybe she's born with it, maybe it's lithium because with my kid and breastfeeding my kid. And my kid is really good at self-soothing because my kid can do this with my kid. This is my kid, the strangest thing I've ever done with my kid and my kid, me and my kid. I think I'm going to stop there.
I wanted to have this conversation with Amy because we had the complete opposite experiences during our postpartum. Amy didn't co-sleep, she pumped at night, then later transitioned her child to formula, and her husband took over all the night wake-ups. We also held slightly different views about breastfeeding. I'll let Amy explain her perspective on that soon. But we did share one experience as new parents, a postpartum mood disorder. And now we'll get into all of that, and I'll play our conversation.
I was in like a new moms group in like the weeks and months after she was born, which was very important to me. It felt really important at that point to be in community with other moms. But following that, I haven't been in like any kind of formal community with parents. Like I have two friends who happen to have kids who are around the same age.
hmm
Yeah.
But when you go, like, you interact with other people who have kids, do you have sort of like topics that you always want to like talk about or like conversations that constantly happen? Because I think, well, Esther's still, yeah, she's only 18 months. So I think my topics are always like, how does your kid sleep? Or like, are you still breastfeeding? Like, those are really the things that are on my mind. I don't know what happens at 3 or like what you're dealing with.
I think like we don't have a lot of huge questions. Like things are going pretty smoothly, knock wood. She's not potty trained yet, so I find that I wind up interviewing a lot of parents about like how did you do that? How did it go? Like I don't know how much you have researched this or know about this, but it seems like what's really, really in vogue, at least in the US, maybe Canadian potty training is different, is this method called Oh Crap, associated with a book called Oh Crap, written by like a completely unhinged, like totally sexist woman whose name I can't remember. The book is fucking nuts. There's like a chapter at the end that's like, hey dads, we know you're working. We know you're busy. Here's how you can pitch in.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. So they get like a tiny shout out at the end when the kid's
right.
potty trained.
Right.
Yeah.
And like it's just I hear a lot of like nightmare experiences caused by it because it's like it seems like the thing that people are doing in 2025 is basically designating a long weekend and like either taking the kid's pants off at home or putting the kid in undies at home and just being like, hey, we're gonna practice what to do when we pee and poop, either naked or in underwear, which like, I think the oh crap is one way of doing it, but like oh crap is like the strictest way of doing it. And like the
Hmm.
way the book is written, it's like, and if you don't do it this way, like your child will be doomed forever and you're a bad parent. And like it just results in like whole families having meltdowns together on long weekends.
Well,
Um,
I think I do see posts about that where they're I'm going out of my mind. We're housebound because we're potty training. And I'm like, why does it have to be so extreme? But I don't remember being potty trained, so I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I don't, it's kind of funny, and we'll get to breastfeeding as well, because I was asking my mom how I was potty trained, and she was like, well, we didn't do like a long weekend thing. I think it probably used to be a little bit more gradual.
Yeah.
Um, and it's actually kind of frustrating because like for a while I was like really determined to do it more gradually. And like I really couldn't find information, advice on how to do that. I had to like ultimately do like Google searches limiting the time of search results to like pre 2006 or whenever this weekend thing became popular. It's very strange how popular it is.
But do you want to first tell me a bit about like your birth story or just like trying to get pregnant? And why did you want to get pregnant? Was it pla I don't know. If it's not planned, you don't have to talk about that, but
Yeah, I was a little bit unsure of whether I wanted to have a kid, and I would talk to my therapist about it, and she was like, "You don't have to decide yet." But I was like 37. And I was like, this is not therapy." So I started seeing another therapist, and she was like, "Okay, this is gonna sound silly, but do you mind trying something a little bit silly?" And so she was like, "Close your eyes and like pretend you're cradling a baby." And okay, so you're doing that? Okay, so tell me how you're feeling. And I was like, oh, like it was a very clear, like, oh, this feels good. I want this. This feels natural. And then I opened my eyes. I was at home because this was during COVID. So it was like phone therapy. And I opened my eyes, and sitting on a branch right outside my window was this big raven, like the size of a baby.
and then like did your partner want a baby? Were they
Yeah.
kind of like, I want one, you're still deciding?
Yeah, I think it felt simpler for him. He definitely wanted a baby, and yeah, and he's someone, I think, and we'll get into this more, like I really would not have had a baby with just anyone. Like he's a very, very nurturing person and very like generous and understanding of like my limitations as somebody with disability and chronic illness.
Yeah, and how did you feel like were there a lot of conversations that you had to have with your partner before conceiving? Like my partner Tristan had to really convince me to have a baby because I never saw myself being a parent or a mother, and I don't have a mom, and so there's just a lot of things where I just didn't see that for me, and or just yeah, not knowing how my disability would impact parenthood. I think if I knew what I knew now, I think I would have actually just been like, no, I'm not having a kid. Like I would have been too terrified
Whoa.
of how hard it is,
Yeah.
ability, and like not that I don't want my child. I'm
Yeah.
it's more like the reality because also I didn't have like really parents to tell me like no, the
Yeah.
day in the day out it's really hard or it can be boring or the sleep or the breastfeeding, like all those things are just especially on the birthing parent. I think maybe if I was like a disabled dad or non-birthing parent, it might have been different. I'm not sure, but I think the toll because I'm like the source of comfort and food, but also have a disability, I find that like really hard in
That's
these early years, if that makes
That's incredibly hard. I mean, I feel like I have a lot of directions that I can go from what you're sharing. I mean, one thing, and I'm kind of just like, Olivia, like reconfigure your life the way I want you to, which is not what this interview is about. But I mean, for me, um, oh, there's so much to say. For me, it was just like, okay, like let's have this baby, but like I have bipolar disorder. I have fibromyalgia. Like the reason that my body and mind can like hold together enough to like live a life or because I sleep for 10 hours a night.
Mhm.
So I need to keep doing that, which means that you're in charge of night feedings and her waking up at night.
How did
And
that go? I'm so curious. Because if Tristan, I think Esther kind of decided immediately when we got home from the hospital that I had to breastfeed, I had to co-sleep. There was no other way. And I think that me and Tristan would both be dead or something if it didn't go that way. So when I heard that, your partner took over all the night feeds, I'm like, wow, what did that look like? How did that work?
I mean, it worked very naturally for us. I mean, in a sad way, in part because the birth was so traumatic for me that I was so physically and emotionally fucked up and quite physically and emotionally numb. Part of it was that I had a nerve injury
Hmm.
um, that we're pretty sure was from the epidural, despite the fact that I had a 45-minute long conversation with an anesthesiologist at the hospital where he like panicking was like trying to convince me it wasn't from the epidural. And I was like, sir, are you aware like how this is coming off? Like you like desperately trying to convince me that it's not the epidural, like is just confirming that it does seem to be caused by that. Anyway, but I couldn't really walk normally. I couldn't feel my left foot, my left ankle. And I also had a C-section that I wasn't expecting. And I also had been awake for 2 days before giving birth, which I guess isn't that unusual, but for somebody with bipolar and fibromyalgia, I guess mostly fibromyalgia. Like my mood, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have some kind of like totally wild like mood episode. I'm gonna have postpartum psychosis because I have bipolar. And I was on the lookout for that.
Hmm.
I just had very garden variety birth trauma and postpartum depression, and it was so like kind of subtle that I didn't realize I was going through it like until like 6 months in, way after the worst of it had passed. But I feel like I was trying to answer. I'm so glad you can edit this interview because what was I trying to answer? Just about, oh, I think I was just saying like because of how fucked up I was coming home from the hospital, like there, like it was just clear that Matt needed to help.
Hmm.
Like, it wasn't like something that we had to be like, okay, we're gonna like put in place this artificial system where like the non-birthing parent is going to do the night feeds. Like I was just really fucking out of commission.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
it was
you
pretty
could do it.
natural.
Yeah.
It was natural for him to be doing that. Yeah, and I mean that was definitely a condition that we talked about. I was like, I can't do this unless I can sleep through the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Totally.
that
I
makes
think
me want
I
to,
think
oh,
that's also where when I was saying I don't think I would have had a child if I knew what I would have to be doing now as someone who had pre-existing pretty severe sleep problems and
yeah.
insomnia, then to be no one, I don't know, maybe I'm naive or maybe because I didn't have a mom. I don't know. No one told me about baby sleep and
Yeah.
and night feeding. I just thought, there's that saying like sleep like a baby. I just thought they slept. I didn't know. I didn't.
No. No,
And
nobody told me any of this.
yeah, and now it's like and I mean it's fine now. I mean I've accepted what my nights are now and knowing that eventually my child won't need me to get her back to sleep in the nighttime one day. But it's intense. Do you want to tell me a bit about breastfeeding? Because I know you started off breastfeeding and then you weaned. I'm not sure how many months in.
Yeah, we did it for 3 months, and then weaned. So you mentioned a couple of times not having a mom, which I mean that's a whole other conversation. Because I'm sure that impacted you in various ways. I'm I'm lucky to have a mom, who's with us and who's in most ways a very supportive person in my life, although she has her limitations. And the only thing she ever told me about breastfeeding was that it was the most tranquil experience she's ever had. And that like to this day, if she has to like, I don't know, like go to the doctor and they're like, oh, like this is gonna hurt a little bit, like think of something really pleasant, like that's what she thinks of.
Oh, I love that.
Well, totally, totally sweet. Love it for her. But like that was my only expectation was
I
like
don't,
it was gonna take me to this totally like blissful, beautiful place of like bonding and like joy.
are we gonna be like this when we're grandparents and we tell our child about the birth?
experience. I don't
I
know.
mean, I think part of it is like it's hormonal. It's like um,
Hmm.
there's that hormone relaxin, right? Like, isn't that the thing that makes us forget the bad parts? Like, I think there literally is something scientific that makes birthing parents forget some of the worst parts.
Right, but I think you and I both have trauma from it, so maybe it sticks a bit
No,
better.
we'll just terrify my kid and Esther ready to conceive. We'll just talk them out of it. So like breastfeeding. So for me, it was also interesting because I take medicine for bipolar disorder, lithium,
Hmm.
and there are if you ask most doctors, they would just be like, no way, lithium is contraindicated for pregnancy and breastfeeding. We have to get you off of it. We need to get you onto like a modern antipsychotic. And I'm just like, are those really safer? But anyway, I was just like, no, like lithium has like been great for me. I've been on it for 10 years. Like I'm not going off of it. Like we can look into surrogacy or something, but I'm not gonna stop taking lithium. And I'd rather not like have a surrogate that also feels very intense in various ways.
Yes.
Um, but that it would be preferable to me than discontinuing the medication that like makes me feel really good.
Hmm.
So I did my own research, and I wish I had it pulled up, but basically what I found without even too much digging was like there are some older studies that make lithium seem like it could be a bad choice for pregnancy, but there's like at least two, if not more, newer studies that show that the risks of there being complications are quite low, and the complications that there might be are like largely reversible.
Right, right.
Basically, so sorry for not having the facts in front of me, but basically, like newer studies show that the older studies suggesting that lithium is like a terrible idea in pregnant and breastfeeding parents, yeah, have just like disproven those. It's basically not that bad, but why do doctors not know about it? Because doctors don't care about the experience of the birthing parent. And I did find links to all of my lithium research so I can try to summarize it
Oh, sure, sure.
if that is helpful.
Yeah.
But basically, I found an email that I sent to my husband 2 months before we had our baby. I think just to like, I didn't need to like convince him of any of this, but I guess I just wanted to keep him updated. So I guess there was a 10 baby study in the US about how breastfeeding with lithium is safer than we thought. A review of 13 studies covering a total of 39 babies, 20% experience adverse effects, but they're all short term and then reversed. A 30 baby study in Sweden where everybody is fine. And then just I have a link to a collection of findings on infant lithium levels and side effects. Oh, and 16 babies in Barcelona and everybody is fine. Yeah, so there is all of this research on how the adverse effects of lithium are dramatically less common than was once thought, and that when there are adverse effects, they are reversible. Um, Fortunately, my psychiatrist was like totally in support of me staying on medicine while I got pregnant and breastfed, but she was also just like, I have no experience with maternal psychiatry, so I
Mhm.
need like I can't be the one to work with you, but like I believe you can do this like safely. So
Mhm.
I had to like call a bunch of psychiatrists and like hear their voices on the phone just being like, I won't touch that with a 10-foot pole. Like not in those words, but that was basically the tone. And
Mhm.
then I did finally find somebody, and I I didn't really like her personality, but she was very comfortable with me staying on my medicine while I was pregnant and breastfeeding, and so that was great. However, because nobody had ever told me about breastfeeding, aside from my mom saying it was really blissful, it didn't occur to me. It's like, oh, cool, so I'm not going to breastfeed at night. But like, it didn't occur to me until like a few months before giving birth that like, oh, I still have to pump at night.
Yeah, I
I
know.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, who talks about that? So then I yeah, I was just like, oh shit, like I'm still like not going to be getting like the 10 hours of uninterrupted sleep that I generally need to like feel okay day to day, mentally and physically. So that wasn't great. And that was kind of like, I think that had a lot to do with like, I mean, it was like I had a very traumatic birth and then I wasn't sleeping right. So like that had a lot to do, I think, with why I wound up having postpartum depression.
I feel like oh, there's so many things I want to talk about here too. Like, well, yeah, I found when I was going to the midwives pregnant, like I was really emphasizing like yeah, like I couldn't be in labor for this long because of my disabilities. Like it would just set me off on the wrong path and that I need to sleep as well. And they didn't really take me seriously, which is why when you were telling me about your birth experience and then my other friend who had the emergency C-section after being awake for God too long, then I was like, okay, I'm gonna get this elective C-section instead of being induced. Um, but then when I went through my own postpartum crisis, like no one knew what to do with me. It was just, I don't know, like they all like, give you the sheets on like the postpartum depression and like things like that. But then when I was actually having a crisis, they had no idea where I should go
Mm.
or how to help me. And then I finally thankfully got put in this perinatal psych program, which was all just online and over the phone. So I never actually met my psychiatrist in person. But it was just yeah, with the breastfeeding, like I found like before I had the baby, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have one of those like natural births. Like I'm just gonna be like, I don't know, a hippie. And then and then I'm gonna breastfeed and then I got put on all those medication and then I felt kind of like when I admitted this to other moms, I felt like kind of judgment, like you're saying, like people are like, oh, you can't be pregnant and take lithium or breastfeed on lithium, like it's gonna
Mm.
pass the baby or impact them in some way. And then I just felt so much guilt about that. I don't know if you had feelings of
About being on medication.
yeah, about being on medication or just that there's not this like support for disabled moms or disabled moms with like psych needs and I don't know. They're just I felt
Yeah.
like yeah, I felt like a lot of guilt just being like, in judgment that it's now passing on to my child. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you have those feelings.
I
Or
mean,
if people cared for you. Like
if anyone felt judgmental, they knew to keep it to themselves. Like, I feel so proud that I advocated for myself and stayed on lithium.
mhm,
It's just like I identify more as a parent than a mom. It's
mhm.
totally
Yeah, me
fine to call
too.
me a mom.
Yeah.
But like I remember my psychiatrist being like, no, like the new way of looking at it is called what's best for mom.
Mm,
Because it's like, yeah, like you can discontinue the psych med that's kept you feeling stable and well for 10 years, but then like then it definitely won't get passed on to your fetus, but like you might have like, a horrible mood episode and like
mhm,
do something else that's harmful to the fetus.
mhm,
So I don't feel judged. Like I'm sure some people do. I remember just reading on Reddit, like kind of around the time that I was being given permission to stay on my medicine, and just seeing so many like moms on Reddit being like, no, it's really sad. Like you can't stay on lithium for pregnancy. So like I'm going off of it and I'm really scared. And like all these people are being told that they can't do something that's actually reasonably safe
mhm,
just because doctors don't care about women and don't care about pregnant people.
mhm.
But we had a joke. I mean, we still kind of have a joke because like my kid is just like a mellow little dude, like self-soothes with her hands, still just like calms herself down, like really easygoing. Like we drop her off at school, she doesn't seem bothered that we're leaving, and
Aw.
we'll just be like, maybe she's born with it, maybe it's lithium. Because they do those studies where it's like places where lithium is found in trace amounts in the water, people have less depression.
Right, yeah.
So,
maybe it's lithium. I hope that maybe, yeah, maybe my psych meds will, I don't know. They definitely, I was, I think also because of my mom's history with postpartum mood disorders, and then I don't know, my because she's not here anymore, and then my dad doesn't have a very good memory about it all or just blocked it out, but they made me very anxious about taking medication too. So I think that kind of influenced me to be like just yeah, like kind of averse to doing it. But I kind of had to. So and
Yeah. Yeah.
it worked out well for me. So I think just having these conversations with people being like, no, like I'm on my psych meds like during pregnancy and breastfeeding and it made me like a better parent is like good to
Absolutely.
hear, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think I try not to like beat myself up for it, but like I wasn't very present for my kid first. I mean, I don't know. I think it took me like a little more than a year to get over postpartum depression. And so like I think, I was doing things that were like nurturing to her, like feeding her and stuff, but I didn't feel very present at all for the first year because of my own like mental health. And I'm just imagining like how much worse it would have been and how much more distance there would have been between us if like I had to go off of the psych meds that are helpful to me.
Hmm. That first year is hard too. Like I did not like the baby stage. Like toddler is way easier to have than a
Yeah, same.
yeah. It's intense.
I mean, I have a lot more to say about breastfeeding.
Yeah, talk about breastfeeding.
It was really hard. Nobody told me that it was going to be hard. All I knew was that my mom found it quite tranquil. My kid was not very good at it. We took her to a doctor to see if she might have like a tongue tie that was affecting her latch, and we were told that she did, and that the doctor could do a surgery to correct it. And I was like, let me think about it. And then I went online and researched it, and like it's like it is a simple surgery, but then like you as the parent have to like reopen the wound with your finger a few times a day during the healing
We
process.
had we had to do it and
Yeah.
we
Oh,
did the
sorry. So you know.
exercises. We did the exercises a few times and then just forgot and it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was yeah, we were anxious about that too for sure.
I
How
just was just I
exercise.
think for me, I think for some people it can be a good choice. It sounds like it was for you, but for me, I'm just like breastfeeding is not that important to me. Like I don't really want to do surgery on her that she can't consent to, that for me at least doesn't feel necessary because like we can just stop breastfeeding.
Right, right. I guess
Um,
for us, we wanted to continue breastfeeding.
yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we were like, we need to get the tongue tie thing.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
if that's a priority, then it makes sense.
Hmm.
But we didn't I just didn't want to do it. And then because, or at least in part because we didn't do it, breastfeeding continued to not work very well because she wasn't like great at getting all the milk out of my breasts. So we were supplementing with formula. So that, it was okay. Like she still was like getting enough to eat, but I wasn't able to like fully empty my breasts. Because I guess it seems like babies tend to do a better job of that than pumps. Like
Hmm.
the pump couldn't really fully empty them either. So like it felt like every other day I felt like I was getting another, what is it called before it becomes mastitis? It's like a cyst or something.
Oh,
No.
a clogged duck. It's like a clogged duck.
Yeah, clogged duct. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like every other day I felt like I was getting a clogged duct, and like I think twice it became mastitis, and like one of the times I had mastitis I had like fever and it was shaking and it really freaked out my husband. Um Yeah, it was pretty fucking wild. And I mean, the way I think I talked about it at the time was like, I'm so busy taking care of my own breasts that like I don't have the energy to take care of the baby because I was getting these clogged ducts that were causing infections. My nipples were like really sore as well. I had all of these conflicting pieces of advice about what to do with that. None of them really helped. Saw like multiple lactation consultants, like called the like lactation helpline, et cetera, et cetera. And ultimately just like I don't know what if there was like a moment, but ultimately it was just like this is fucking crazy. Like this is not working. And I asked my friend for advice on how to stop lactating. And she told me about this cabbage cream. And I bought this cabbage cream and I put some cabbage leaves in my bra just for an added flourish. And I said to my other friend that I wanted to have like a party to celebrate and make a cake. And I guess there's a song from the 101 Dalmatians movie about like a something Dalmatian celebration. So she came up with a song that was like lactation cessation celebration, but to the tune of the Dalmatian song.
I
So
love
there,
that.
yeah, there's a picture of me with a little cake. My friend was like, "Oh, is it going to be a Tres Leches cake?" Um, but it's just a ginger cake, but I made it to celebrate, and it's like probably one of the first pictures from like post having a child where I'm actually like genuinely smiling.
I want to do that. I definitely want to have some sort of like weaning acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Just like the end of breastfeeding, kind of because it kind of marks like the end of not well, it doesn't end of the mark for me. I feel like it will mark the end of postpartum for me, and just
Yeah.
that this like my child is not needing my body anymore in that way. Um, and I'm looking forward to that to be honest, but
Can
my
can I ask
child
you?
is no way like would never let me stop right now, I think. I think that's been, I guess that's what like your story and then my child and the story of my child, it seems so different being like, wow, like, and then Esther is her own child, but is like very demanding on my body,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
on
I mean,
things. So
I don't know if you just stopped and started feeding her with a bottle. She's not
no,
gonna
she
eat.
wouldn't do it. We did try to give her a bottle and she wouldn't take it. And yeah, even when I had to go to the hospital when I had my crisis, and then I was like, I need to get help. And
Mhm.
then I was, oh, our Canadian healthcare system is like so bad now, and I had to wait 16 hours to see a doctor, and then I was using a pump there.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I was at like the hospital that had the maternity ward so they could bring down the breast pump for me. I've had to go in the hospital a few times actually, and then I always have to request a pump if Esther's not with me, and they're just like look at me like they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, people breastfeed and have to come to the hospital and have to empty their breasts. Like
Right.
you're spending so much time like taking care of your breasts. Like it is like intense because you're like, well, if I don't empty them, I'm gonna get mastitis." Anyways, Tristan tried to give her a bottle when I was in the hospital, and I was with my sister-in-law, and she just had to end up driving me back and forth every few hours
Oh,
to go breastfeed Esther because she just wouldn't eat. And yeah, it was pretty intense. So she's always kind of just decided how things are gonna go. So I think that's just how it is right now.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say, my sister, she has a baby now. He's 10 months. And she went to a wedding and she was like breastfeeding. She had to go back to the house to breastfeed him too, because he doesn't take a bottle. And
Yeah.
she was looking at the bride, being like, wow, her breasts, she doesn't even have to think about, breastfeeding or a bra
Uh-huh.
or like, she could just wear whatever she wants because she doesn't have to get her breasts out all the time or, like sort of thing. I think it does it is a full-time job, sort of thing to do the breastfeeding.
Yeah, it felt like that's who I was the caregiver of. Like I was the parent to my breasts and Matt was the parent to the baby.
Yeah. Well, that's why they say like you need someone to look after the birth parent too. Like someone needs to be feeding us and like looking after us.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say about breastfeeding. I mean,
I mean, I love that you had like a party. Like that's these are the things I'm kind of like looking for, this like acknowledgement about
yeah,
like because there's just so much emphasis on like the birth story, like oh the birth story, but then there's nothing afterwards.
yeah,
And I think that was why also I just think like culturally I wasn't prepared for like actually what it meant to have a baby. Like,
yeah,
yeah. It was more just like focusing on getting the baby out, but then not like actually becoming a parent. Like,
totally.
yeah.
Yeah. I think, well, one thing I want to say, just because I think it needs to be said is like, I think that the benefits of breastfeeding are overemphasized, like to an extent that's pretty manipulative. And I think there's a lot of new parents, new birthing parents, moms out there feeling really, really guilty that they're disservicing their babies because they're not breastfeeding or they can't breastfeed.
Hmm.
And I just really want people to be able to let go of that guilt. I'm thinking of a story a friend told me about. She had a really traumatic birth, and I don't remember why, but breastfeeding wasn't working very well for them. I think she just like had a low milk supply, and finally she and her husband were like, okay, we really need to get some formula. But they felt so terrible about it that the husband like showed up at the drugstore and like, got the employee to unlock the formula case and like said to her at the checkout, like, do you really think this is okay? Like, we really, really just wanted to breastfeed and we feel so guilty about giving this to our kid. Like, do you really think it's okay? And the employee was just like, do you know how much formula I sell a day? Like, it's fine.
Hmm. Yeah. I know a friend also was having trouble breastfeeding and was going to different lactation people and they're like, yeah, you're doing it fine, it's blah blah blah. And I think like what my friend was looking for was someone to tell her it was okay to stop.
Yeah.
That's what she wanted to do. And no one was really telling her that. And I think that, yeah, that causes a lot of like feel like guilty feelings and anxiety, like a huge amount of anxiety too.
Yeah, that's a good point that, yeah, you're probably not going to get that answer from a lactation consultant.
But they should be able to say that, like you don't have to do it like it's like a choice, and it'll be okay. Your baby will be fine. I think
Yeah,
you need someone to tell you that, like your baby will be fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels very manipulative, I think, because it's like so many of the studies about the advantages of it. It's like you can't separate things like socioeconomic factors.
Hmm.
It's like which moms can afford to take that much time off work to breastfeed?
Hmm. Yeah, especially because you're in the States. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's intense over there with like zero maternity.
Yeah. Just things like that. It's like how do you like it's cool that these breastfed babies in this study are have better IQs or whatever, not even to get into like how IQ is a fake statistic, but like, it's just like I don't know if that's really because of the milk.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um anyway, I just think that's important to say because people put so much pressure on themselves to do it, and I don't really think that you need to do it.
I love that because yeah, like we just have had very different breastfeeding experiences, and so I'm just like I just want to know like how you feel about it, how you think about it, and yeah, I think like yeah, people should just like do it if they want to, and then have a party like you did, because that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna definitely have a party. Like
Definitely have a party.
yeah, I think
Also,
that just needs to be like a new thing, like not like gender reveals, but just like
yeah,
you know,
lactation cessation celebration.
yeah, weaning parties, just having your body back to yourself too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a huge deal. It's a really big deal. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, breastfeeding. I don't know. It was a fucking wild ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just wish like, and something like using a breast pump. Like I'd never seen a breast pump before. Like breast pumps, this was one thought I had. Breast pumps are so funny. They have so much comedic potential Like the first time I used it, my cat jumped on a bookshelf and I needed to like get her down because she was going to try to rip off some art from the wall. And I like lunged to grab her, but I was attached to this thing. So like the whole thing fell off of me. There was milk everywhere. The cat was screaming. And I'm like, why are there not breast pumps in like TV shows and movies? They're so funny.
Oh yeah, I know. Or just I think also, well, this was another thing I think with breastfeeding, maybe also because in the States, pumping culture might be bigger just because there's no maternity. But I thought you just have to get a breast pump. Like I just thought everyone pumps too. Like I don't know. I had no idea what I was doing. And now that because I'm just home with Esther all the time, like obviously I don't need to pump. And then I was getting up in the middle of the night to feed her, so there was just like no need
Yeah.
to do any of that. And I think other moms were telling me that too, because I was like, oh, I want to try to find one, like used one, and they're like, yeah, well, if you're staying at home, like you don't need one. But
Yeah. I mean, I guess like if you want to be able to like go to the hospital for your 18-hour
yeah,
wait,
I know,
I
yeah.
guess nobody wants that, but
Well, because my sister, I mean, yeah, because I guess like it sounds like took a bottle fine, but even
your
my
kid, your kid.
oh, sorry, your kid took a bottle fine. Whereas my sister's child, like when she was at this wedding, like had to drive back because he wasn't taking a bottle. So
Oh my God,
it's
I've heard
just,
that.
you don't know how these things are gonna go, I guess.
No.
Your child is deciding things for you. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I think like we kind of just decided that she wasn't going to.
Yeah. But she seemed okay with it. So
Well, I mean, maybe it's the lithium. I am joking, but I don't know. I mean, I just feel like it was just like, hey, lady, like I'm disabled. Your dad's gonna feed you at night, and it's gonna be fine. You're just gonna deal. And she
mhm.
did.
No.
Um, what else did I want to say about pumping? Oh, yeah. So in the US, yeah, we don't get a lot of maternity leave. How much do you get?
Well, I didn't get any because I'm a student.
Right.
So, and then Tristan he got a lot actually for him. He got 3 months.
Yeah.
But I think if I wasn't disabled and worked a normal job and full time, I would get a year. And I think some people get
Oh,
18
wow.
months. So much better than the States.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But so yeah, everyone does like when you give birth at a hospital, you like just get a breast pump. That's part of it, to take home.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I just remember like using it and like I part of my experience with postpartum depression was that I felt really numb, like my foot felt numb, but I felt like extremely emotionally numb. And I just like I mean everyone's addicted to their phones, but like it was the first time in my life where I'm just gonna like stare at Instagram reels and zone out for like hours and hours at a time because I can't really process or deal with anything that's happening. And it was like, it was from a fucking random Instagram reel that I saw that was just like, hey ladies, like, did you know that your pump actually works? You have to press this wave mode button. And like, if you don't start by pressing wave mode, like, it's actually not going to stimulate your milk in the right way. And like, that's how I learned that I'd been using my pump wrong for like 2 months.
I also saw that you like to stimulate the milk letdown, that you should like look at pictures of your baby. I don't know if you did that or
I,
anything like that.
oh, that sounds really familiar. I don't know if I did that either. But I was just like, how the fuck am I learning how to use the pump from this random fucking social media video? Like, why did nobody explain this to me?
Yeah, did your midwives not do that?
No, they like the nurses at the hospital didn't explain anything about the pump. Like you get it, I think it gets mailed to you before your kid is born. Like you don't have, or I didn't have the opportunity to like learn how to use it after giving birth. I think that would have been better. But like nobody showed me how to use it.
Yeah, actually that's triggering a response, like a memory for me too. Like the nurses were shockingly bad at helping me breastfeed. And because you and I both had cesareans, so
Yeah.
I couldn't move and I couldn't pick up my child and bring her to my breast and like do anything. I could barely sit up. Um, and so Tristan was the one helping Esther latch.
Yeah.
And then the nurses were like weirded out about that. I was like,
Oh,
well, what else are we supposed to do? And why is it weird? Like, I can't move, and he's the dad. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
It
that's fucked up.
it just seems like yeah, I don't know. There's just so many things around breastfeeding. Like, no one really tells you how to do it, even though there's lactation consultants. No one tells you how to stop. No one gives you permission to really stop. Um, just
Yeah.
needs to be better things around that.
Oh man, there was one memory that I have from my like mom's group in the few weeks. Oh my God, we could have a whole other conversation about C-sections, but um yeah, there were a lot of other moms who like were like deer in headlights, like body in hospital underwear, just like what did I just go through? C-sections. Anyway, one thing that I remember from that mom's group was we were talking about like learning how to breastfeed, and everyone was like, yeah, all the nurses who came in during like our days at the hospital following the birth had totally conflicting advice on how to breastfeed. And I remember this one woman saying that she had a nurse come in going, make the breast sandwich, make the breast sandwich.
Oh
And
yeah, we
like,
got that too.
he was just like, which, like, if you know what the breast sandwich is, great. But like, no other nurse had already explained to her what the breast sandwich was. So this woman was just like, make the breast sandwich? Um, yeah, I think about that a lot.
The nurses also didn't know what like because you have to do a specific breastfeeding hold when you have a C-section because you can't have the baby like on top of you.
Yeah.
So I was having to do, I guess it's called like the football hold.
Yeah.
And then they're just like, we don't know how to get you in this position. And I'm like, what is that possible? Like you must see so many C-section people. And some of you are certified lactation people. Like, what's happening? I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
just weird.
man.
Yeah.
To close off our conversation, Amy reads her poem, Depression.
Okay, you should read your
I'll
poem.
read the poem.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, so this poem is called Depression, and it's an erasure of the Edinburgh Postnatal Depression Scale, which is a 10-question survey handed to birthing parents on a clipboard at every doctor's visit in the months following birth. One of my doctors provided a laminated version of the survey and a dry erase pen so she could conveniently wipe away my depression to make space for the next patient's depression. Depression. Since you recently had a baby, we want to place a check mark on you. Today is a test. If something doesn't seem right, no, not please, have a funny side. A look forward thing, have a self. Most of the time, some of the time. Have a good son. Yes, yes, getting me well, quite well.